thing. What? What the fuck is that?
Hello, welcome back. Once again, I'm doing what I do best by spreading pain and misery into the lives of innocent and undeserving people. Today, we'll be achieving that goal in Planet Coaster, a game about building jigsaw-inspired death traps with a theme park management minigame attached to it. We do have one objective, and that is simply to subject our unwilling participants to the most seasonally appropriate horror possible. So to accomplish this, I'm going to rig the park with as many malfunctioning rides, disturbing content, spooky decorations, and Lovecraftian beasts as I can. We're going to be playing on Sandbox, so we don't have to worry about money, and instead can focus solely on tormenting our guests. I chose the Alpine setting for our theme park, so that we're deep in the mountains where no one will be able to hear the screams of my guests. I name my park Rat Vomit and load into the game, where my first goal is to set up some basic attractions and get some guests flowing in. I've got this nice preset Halloween village from the Steam Workshop, so I'm just going to go ahead and place it here. Now I just need to connect the paths up to the food and drink stalls, but mainly to this merry-go-round ride over here. Come on. There we go. We have some guests coming in now, which is perfect, and they seem to be enjoying our first ride. This is going to be the first and probably last actually safe ride in the park, so I'll let my guests enjoy it for now as a kind of calm before the storm. If you haven't played Planet Coaster before, you can add your own music to the rides, so naturally I'm going to have this ride playing the Sigma Male theme, just to give my guests a slight hint of what's to come. I couldn't help myself though and immediately built a overly convoluted Ghostbusters roller coaster to start lightly tormenting my guests. Here he comes. Honestly, if my guests aren't going to take that as a sign to leave, then what happens next is kind of on them. As well as allowing you to use custom music, Planet Coaster also lets you play your own videos using these big screens here. So I set up a screen near the entrance just to set the right tone for the park.
Welcome to City 17.
Dr. Breen now easing my guests into a false sense of security, I started on my first proper ride. I placed down this ride here, the Witch's Hunt, then ramped up the speed of the ride to max, before clogging up the track with as many cars as possible. And that is looking like a pretty disastrous traffic jam, but apparently the biggest problem people have with all of this is the litter. I set up some more screens on the new ride, including this FNAF jump scare compilation and this Brian Griffin analog horror clip. You know what, we haven't given the Ghostbusters ride a try yet, so let's do that. Here we go. Perfect. Next, I built a wall of screens, a raised walkway, a few very oversized roller coasters, a giant pit full of colourful ghosts, as well as some basic attractions at the end of the walkway, all in order to get my guests to travel along the walkway and get knocked into the pit below. I realised, however, that this was very stupid and way too overcomplicated. So I removed everything and started over with a simple track and brought the ghost train ride over to encourage people to walk along my new path. I even removed the Ghostbusters death trap at the entrance and simplified it down in order to give it a more unsuspecting look. I placed some more Ghostbusters rides to knock people into the pit, then remembered the flamethrower effect existed, so I added some into the pit for some added torment. Now, these Slimers seem to be doing their job well, and they're getting a few people into the pit, but what we need is more guests. Luckily, I have just the thing to get more people into the park. Say hello to the Marquee Coaster. TM, the magnum opus of my park. Instead of explaining why it has that name, let's just give it a ride and find out what's in store for us. Wasn't that nice? Unfortunately, no one actually wants to ride on it. Literally, not a single person. I can sort of understand why, but still, not one. If they won't ride it though, they're gonna be sacrificed. We've got some alien fellas here who need to keep their pet Leviathan fed to prevent it from going apeshit and eating their space gruel. Being the seasoned diplomat I am, I agreed to let them use my park guests as food in exchange for their sci-fi research on how to build more efficient death traps. Like an anglerfish, we needed a lure to draw our guests towards the jaws of their imminent deaths. So once again, we set up some rides, stores, bathrooms, and restaurants to attract some guests. Now it's time to build a coaster up to the max height and give it a huge drop, just to gently persuade my guests towards the creature. Yeah, these guys really do not seem to care about the situation they're in, not even an attempt to swim out. I've got to say though, I really love these screens. I'm probably overdoing it with them at this point, but I don't care. I'm very easily entertained.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
We had temporarily satiated the aliens creature pet thing, so with that I wanted to start bringing in some more guests to the park. I made another larger Halloween village, and to enter made my guests walk through these searing green flames and be welcomed into the village by this horrifying thing. And like moths to literal flames, we now have way more test subjects to experiment on. A quick revamp to the path into the Halloween village means that now some of my guests will be thrown into the Leviathan pit as they enter. Things aren't much better in the actual village, however. If you're not getting overcharged for some shitty Ghostbusters marshmallows, then you'll be getting annihilated by the roller coaster right next to the store where they're sold. Now we have a self-sustaining cycle of people being subjected to utter horror, so I think we could leave it there, but there's still some stuff I want to mess around with. So before we finalize the park, I want to take things a bit further and get my guests up in the air. I started building my walkway up into the air, and then set up another Slimer coaster to attract people up, along with yet another coaster above it, just to make sure there weren't too many guests queuing. I think I need to replace their music. Once again, my mind returned to the giant screens, and I realized I hadn't been using the largest screen size, which gave me an idea. I took this classic video here, replaced some of the words, layered a giant grid over it, and then split it up into 6 individual videos, and then voila, the mega screen. Yeah, this really didn't turn out like how I'd hoped, but I think it adds to the chaotic aura of the park. We'll just put these here.
I just woke up in a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shithole!
Perfect. Alright, my guests have been exposed to enough mind-changing horror at this point, but before we let them leave, I want them to go through one last challenge. I blocked off the path to the entrance, leaving my guests with no route out of the park, but if they can pass by my pit of lost souls without being knocked in, then make it all the way around the exhaustingly long exit, I think they've earned their freedom. Let's add in some flames. Perfect. Almost looks like a pentagram. Very spooky. In they go. Enjoy the trip down. This guy is having a great time. He's acting like he's in a museum. My friend, you are about to die. I finished up by making the huge path to the exit and then made things a bit more fair by removing most of the coasters next to the pit. Surprisingly, some people did actually manage to make it through. Honestly, I think they've earned their escape. I'm just praying they don't tell the police about this place. Should be fine. Well, there we go. Wasn't that spooky? As always, thank you for watching, fellas. Bit of an abrupt ending, so as a bonus clip, here's me carving a pumpkin.
No! Stay back! Ah! Gordon! Do you know who ate all the donuts? Ah! No! Stop! Ah! No! 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 Oh my God, we're doomed! Ah! I seem to be wounded, but I can keep going. Well...
Losing up on the Mandalorians are bigger, so don't